Ever felt like SQL is too complex and databases are too difficult to understand? What if I tell you that in just 30 minutes you could master the concepts of databases and SQL without any prior SQL experience? Whether you are a beginner or a pro who is looking to refresh their skills, this video will break down SQL in the simplest way possible. Hello everyone, welcome to WsCube Tech channel. My name is Ayushi Jain, and guys, in this video we'll be understanding the concepts of databases and SQL in this video. Now before we get started with the video, if you are a data enthusiast and want to join a channel which gives you constant live updates about jobs, podcast, masterclasses, cheat sheets, notes, and so much more, then WsCube Tech has recently launched their WhatsApp channel. You can join it now to stay updated in the world of data. So let's get started, guys. Here, first of all, let's understand that what is a database. Here I have written a definition that a database is an organized collection of structured information or data typically stored electronically in a computer system. So now here, if you're talking about a database is a place where we can store a large amount of data. Think of an example of any company, be it Netflix, Amazon, or Walmart as well. They produce a large amount of data based on their user bases as well, and even their own data, that what is being sold, how much is being consumed, or how much people are watching any of the particular shows. So this data is getting saved inside the databases because these are large amount of data sets. These data sets are getting stored in the databases, whether it's in the format of images, URLs, it's our information like name, phone number, or country or region or anything else as well. It is all getting stored in the databases so that anyone can take that information and maybe retrieve it later for any of the purposes to find any insights from the data. Now, this is what database is. Databases are further classified into multiple categories. We have relational databases, non-relational databases, we have object-oriented databases, cloud databases. So there are different kinds here. But what is important for us over here is relational database. Let's understand what is relational database. A relational database is the one which is organized in the format of tables and columns. Now, not just tables and columns over here, tables, columns, and rows in here, but also these are well connected to each other. For example, consider this. Okay, we often buy from Amazon. So when you're buying any product from Amazon in their database, it's not like your order ID, your name, your country, your city, your product name, its category, its price, its delivery status, who is going to deliver it, so delivery person, or we can write it as delivery details. It's not like that everything is getting mentioned over there. What generally happens here is that in the orders table goes the order ID and any information which was related to the order. But for the customers to get the customer details, it just gets our customer ID over here, which is then connected to our customers table. So order ID, orders table will only contain customer ID, which is then connected to the customer table, which would be having our customer ID, our name, and rest of the other details about it, so that it won't be stored as a format of large number of columns in one table, but it would be lesser number of columns divided into multiple tables, so that your weightage of data, your data set is not too large over here. So for that we have different tables, and then for the products we'll be having a products table which will keep track of different information about the product. It could be the name of the product, category of the product, the price of the product, discount of the product, weight of the product, and other description or details about the product, who is the seller of the product. And then sellers could have another table where there would be a seller ID, which would be related to the product, that who particular person is selling this particular product. So there would be a large amount of data and large amount of tables as well. But as of now, relational database is one where there is a relation between multiple tables, and these relationships are based on the primary keys and the foreign keys. Now, what is primary key and foreign key? We'll be also understanding that, but understand relational databases are the one where there is relationship between the tables, and these relationships are due to the common columns between them, so that not all the data is stored in one table, but they have been broken down into multiple tables, and then the data is getting stored there. So this is what relational database is. Now, in case of relational databases, there are different kinds of databases which comes in these categories. We have Oracle, MySQL, Microsoft's SQL, PostgreSQL, and many more. These are the different RDBMS, that means Relational Database Management System. These are RDBMS. These are different RDBMS where we can perform analysis on data, where data is getting stored in the format of different tables, which contains the data in the format of rows and columns. Okay, now moving forward, since we are talking about RDBMS, all the relational database management systems work on SQL. Here, SQL, what is SQL? Let's also understand that since I have mentioned SQL here. So, SQL here is nothing but it stands for Structured Query Language. Okay. Structured Query Language. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It's a language which allows us to interact with the database. Right now, I'm interacting with you and you are able to understand my language because you understand English. Similarly, relational database understands SQL. Therefore, we need to learn SQL in order to interact with these databases. So, whether we are talking about any of these RDBMS, it's Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, MS SQL as well, they all use SQL over here. They all use SQL. Okay, but only a certain different changes are there in some of the functions. Like Postgres has some functions which MySQL does not have. MySQL has some extra functions which MS SQL does not have. So, but they all follow SQL. So, when you say that I have learned SQL, you can say that you know SQL in Oracle, in MySQL, MS SQL, or Postgres SQL as well. It wouldn't be difficult, or it wouldn't be difficult for you to work on any of these servers, and there are more of them as well. Okay. Now, to understand more about databases here, let's understand about primary key and the foreign key. As I said, in the relational database management systems, there are orders table, there are customers table, and there are products table. Let's take this example that we have 3 tables over here. There could be more tables as well. Maybe some region, that which region this product was bought from. So some region table could have also been over here. But okay, let's take for example 3 tables in here. Where in the orders table we'll be having order ID of the person. We'll also be having customer ID, that who bought it. We'll also be having the product ID, which will give us information about the product. Due to customer ID being over here, this will be connected with the customers table, as customers table will also have this common column which would be customer ID. But now customer table will contain information about the customers like their name, their country, their city maybe, phone number, and other details too. Same goes for the products table, that product ID will be connected to the products table based on product ID here. Okay, where it would contain much more information about the products, that what is the name of the product, what is the category of the product, what is the price of the product, and other information like weight of the product or description about the product. These will be inside the products table. Now, what would be the plus point over here? The plus point would be I can pull data from all the 3 tables together. And also, there wouldn't be a lot of weightage of data in just one table, because now we have broken down into multiple tables. This is what happens in relational databases. But now, over here, the customer ID and the customer ID here are working as a common column between the order table and the customer table. Here in the customer table, this customer ID would be called as primary key, while here, this customer ID would be called as foreign key. When I'm talking about primary keys are unique, non-duplicates. Unique means it is obviously non-duplicates, and not null as well. Okay, these cannot be null. Okay, while these can also contain some null values, like for some reason it might not be able to fetch data of that specific customer, or it could also contain duplicate values as well. I'm not saying that it would always be there, the null values will always be there, but it might contain null values And there could be a case scenario where obviously there could be duplicate values as well, because a same person can buy many times. Like when I'm saying that I want to buy something from Amazon, I would be buying often, let's say once in a month or twice in 1 month or every 2 years I'm buying something. So in that case, my customers table will not get updated because I am one customer. My information will stay always here, but every time I'll place a new order ID will be generated. A new order ID will be generated. That's how you, when you complain for any of the product, you just tell the order ID and based on that they fetch your information, right? So every time buying a new product, a new ID will be generated, which will lead to the same customer ID over here. Hence, in the customers table, it would be a primary table, but here in the orders table, because I'm buying multiple times, the customer ID will repeat and therefore it would be called as a foreign key over here. Based on these primary keys and foreign keys, we create the relationships between the table and hence we can fetch data from multiple tables. Hopefully we are clear till here. Now that the basic concepts are clear, like what is a database, what is a relational database, what is RDBMS, what are different kinds of relational database management systems which are there, what is SQL, and what are primary keys and the foreign keys. Now let's move forward towards MySQL. Now before we move ahead, if you're enjoying this video and if you're also someone who wants to transition into the career of data analytics, then WsCube Tech is launching their upcoming cohort on data analytics mentorship program. In this cohort, you will be learning different live industry projects, also be working on business case studies. Me, myself, will be the master mentor of this particular batch, along with Tushar Jha, who is an industry mentor, who is currently working as a lead data analyst at Amazon. In this program, you will be having the access to live classes, you'll be given notes, cheat sheets, quizzes, capstone, mega capstone projects. We will also help you get placed as well. So there is a lot of things with this program is packed with. So if you want to be a part of this program, the link to this program is given in our description. Check it out now. Okay, for the installation of MySQL, I'm giving you a reference of the video which you can find in our description. It will give you a brief of how you can install MySQL in your system. Once you have installed MySQL in your system, this is how it would look like. So you will be on the administration page, or actually you will be on the home page, which looks like this. Then you'll have to click on local instance and you will be redirected to the administration page initially once you'll download MySQL. But you don't have to go to administration, you need to be on schemas over here. In the schema section, you'll be finding Sakila, SYS and World in here, where Sakila and SYS and World, they contain sample databases in here. Okay, if you also want to see their structure, you can also see their structure too as well. In the home page, there is an option for data model. And you can go over here and here the ER diagram, Sakila, has also been given. So when you open the diagram, you will now notice that there are relationships between the table. For example, if I'll zoom it up over here. Okay, so suppose in Sakila, there are 4 tables. One is country, another one is city, then we have address, which is connected to customer. Okay, you will now notice that there is a relationship between the address and the customer table based on what? Address ID. Okay, that every time the person does not have to mention the address over and over again, address table will keep a track on that based on address IDs. To the address IDs, there is a connectivity of city and addresses over here, which is showing us what? That a city ID is a primary key in the city table and the city is repeating over here in the addresses table. You can also see this symbol in the starting and always the 3 lines which are connecting over here, which is basically one to many kind of a relationship, indicating that city is appearing only one time, that means unique times in the city table, and city is appearing many times in the addresses table. Same goes here as well. Country is appearing once in this table and is appearing many times in the city table because different cities could be from one country, right? So country would be one unique in the country table, but cities, since there could be many cities inside one country, that's why country would be appearing many times in here. So this is how you can see the data model as well of this sample table as well. Now coming back here, in the Sakila, we have these different tables. If you'll open the table section, you'll be finding that here we have different tables. To fetch the data over here. Now, inside the SQL, there are 4 major operations. Let's also discuss them. Okay, inside SQL, we have 4 major operations, that is C, R, U, D, where C stands for create, that you can create the databases. R stands for retrieve, or people also call it as read. Okay, U is for updating a database. And lastly, D stands for deleting something from the database, or you can also delete the tables and the database itself. Okay, but here delete is for deleting some rows from the database. Okay, now create means you can create the database, you can create the tables as well. So you can create the database plus you can create the tables, you can insert the data inside it and do a lot more things. So create is for creation of database and table. Retrieve and read is the one which we use as a data analyst. Retrieve and read is one which we use as a data analysts, or it is used by anyone who wants to retrieve information from the databases. Could be business analyst, could be product analyst, or any other data scientist too who wants to retrieve information from the databases. So if you want to retrieve, we'll be working on R over here. Okay, then comes update, which allows us to update the database, but it is not our task as a data analyst to update the databases or neither to delete anything from the databases. R is majorly deals with the retrieval of data or the reading of data. So here we'll be starting with select. Okay, select allows us to read anything from our data. So when we are talking about retrieve or read, select will read the data for us. What it will read? Any column from here. For example, in the actors table, there could be a column. Let's call this actor table here and let's see its column. So it contains actor ID, first name, and last update. So let's get the first name or last name, or if you want to pull everything, you can pull everything as well. So if you want to define the column name, you can define the column name from the name of the database dot table. Okay, so Sakila is the database dot name of the table is actor. Okay, if you close this, run this, you'll be getting the entire information which lies inside this database. So the common syntax is simple, pretty simple, that here all you need to do is write select columns from table. Okay, pretty simple, select columns from table. Now, as I'm saying over here that you need to also mention the name of the database. Well, it is not mandatory when you have activated the database. So you can use this query, use Sakila. If I write use Sakila, what would happen? Right now you can see that Sakila and sys or world over here, they are all in the normal syntax. If I use Sakila, it will be bolded down. You can see how it is now has been bolded. And now, even if I don't write the name of the database, I can call it stable. Okay, in the single file, you can call as many queries as you want. Like if I just want to call first name underscore name from actor. So I can call it really very easily. Okay, so it would be select column from table. If you want to define all the column, asterisk will be used. If you want to define a single column, then you can just write the name of that specific column. This is what a simple query looks like where you read something from the database. Now, one more thing. Since I have used Sakila, my Sakila is the default database. If I want to call anything from the world database like country language, okay, if I write select in the country language, let's see the number of columns. In the column section, we have country code, language is official percentage. Let's get the country code or language as well. Or let's get everything. Let's get everything from, what is the name of the table? Country language. Okay. When I call this, it would throw me an error over here. Okay, why it would throw an error? It says ki Sakila country language does not exist, which is true. In Sakila country language does not exist. It exists in the world table. When you have used use Sakila, what has happened over here is that the default database is set to Sakila. I want to change it to world. There is one option that you can write use world. Another option would be double tap on world. And now if you run this, you will be able to get data from world. But if I try this query now, there is no actor table in world now. My default database is world. So there is no actor table in world. So I need to make Sakila as the major table over here, default table. When I run it, and I will be getting data from here. So this is how you activate any of the databases. When I'm saying ki select column from table, you can write just the table only if the database is activated. If it is not activated, then you'll have to write select column from database dot table. First the database name would appear, then dot and table name would appear. That is the difference over here. So this is how you can call a basic data. if you want to give any kind of a condition, acha, this is how you can open a new file. Here, if you click on the plus button, you'll be able to open a new file. Okay. At the bottom, you'll be able to see that what is the action output of your particular query, whether it is correct, whether it contains some error. You will be also getting the name of the error, like this one, that it does not exist in here. This one also says that this particular data does not exist. So you'll be getting such kinds of errors here. Now, SQL is more like very simple to understand as it is more close to English. Like here, if I write select everything from, let's call any of the table from Sakila, that here if we'll open this, we are getting a lot of options. Like let's get customers table. Select everything from customer. Okay, customers does not exist, customer exists. Okay, so we'll be calling customer. Okay, here in the customer section, we have a lot of information given. Let's say I want to get all the customers where the address ID is equal to any specific value, or we can also go with who are active. Okay, I want all the customers who are active. Here it's given that whether the customer is active or inactive. So I want the customer where it is active. So 1 is active, 0 is inactive. Okay, so for that, we'll be writing condition that where active, the column name active is equal to 1. And if I close this, run this, I'll only be getting information of those customers where the value is equal to 1. What if I put 0? If I run this, I'll be getting the information of all those customers who are inactive right now. So this is how it gives us information about something being active, someone being inactive here. Okay. So you just need to use a where clause over here to give any kind of filter in your data, that I want the information, but this specific filter, like I want the customers who are of US, I want the customers who are from India, I want the customers who are active, or I want the customers who are inactive right now. Okay. Now, where is used to give certain condition. With where we give multiple other conditions too, like we give AND operator that I want inactive, but also who have bought from store ID 2. So where store ID is equal to 2. Okay, if you're writing your query in 1 line or you're writing your query in 2 line, doesn't matter over here. You can write your query in 10 different lines as well, but always make sure that when you're closing a query, you are closing it with the semicolon. If you're not closing it with the semicolon, this one will run. This one will definitely run, but the next one, that select everything from customer, if I write this and run this, this one will not work because previous one was not closed. So you need to close the previous one in order to make next one run here. Okay. So here we have select everything from customer where active is 0 and store ID is equal to 2. So you can use different operators here. Like if you want both of the conditions to be true, you can use AND. If you want one of the conditions to be true, you can use OR. If you want the opposite result for anything, you can use NOT operator. So there are different operators which can then further be utilized here. If you want your data to be arranged in the ascending order, then you can write order by. Order by comes after where clause. So order by, let's say I want to arrange my data based on ascending order based on first name. If I run this, you will now notice that first we have Ben, Erica, Hedy, Judith, Kenneth, Sandra and Theodore. So it's now arranged in the ascending order. This is how you arrange your data in the ascending order. Okay, so you will notice that there is a structure of query. There is no such thing as which word will go in which line, but there is a proper structure of query which is being going on right now, which is that you have said select column from table where goes your condition, that here you will be having your condition. Okay, after condition, you order by your data. Okay. So first of all goes select column from table, then goes where condition, then you order by and the column. Okay, which column you want to order by your data with. Right now you would notice that the order by over here is in the ascending order. What if I want it to be in descending order? Well, I'll be writing DESC over here, which will now give me the data in the descending order. So you can order by your data in ascending or you can order by your data in descending as well. And lastly, if you want to give any limit to data, ki after arranging it into descending order, I want the top 1 value, bottom 2 value or anything as well. In that case, I'll be using limit function over here. Limit allows us to limit the number of rows in our data. If I write limit 2, it will only give us 2 rows. Let's also understand it with the fresh perspective, that if I call everything from our customers table, from the customer table, if we call everything, this is the customer table, I only want to retrieve the first 2 rows over here, then I'll be writing limit 2. Okay, and it will just give me 2 rows of Mary and Patricia. So if I don't limit the data, it will give me all the data. But if I want just the top 2 rows over here of Mary and Patricia, then I'll be writing limit 2. And when I run it, it would give me just 2 rows. What will happen if I write 1 comma 1? First one over here is the offset. Second one over here is the number of rows which are returning. Offset as in first is the one that how many number of rows do we want to skip. So I want to skip Mary's value and I just want to retrieve Patricia's value. Skip first row, skip one row and retrieve as the second row. Okay, so if I run this, I'll just be getting the information about Patricia. If I limit 2 comma 3, what would happen? It will skip both Mary and Patricia and give us next 3 rows over here. So 2 rows to skip, 3 rows to retrieve. Okay, so now if I run it, we'll be getting Linda, Barbara and Elizabeth. So if I remove this limit in here and run it, you will be seeing that on 3rd, 4th and 5th number, we have Linda, Barbara and Elizabeth. So 2 rows were skipped and 3 rows were retrieved. This is how limit function works, that it allows us to limit data. And even in the query, inside the query, after select columns from table where we give the condition, order by our data based on any specific column, default is ascending. And if you want the descending, then you will have to write DESC over here, and ascending is by default. And then you can give the limit in here, that limit 1 or limit 5 or limit anything else as well. This is how your basic queries go like. You start by choosing the columns, which columns you want from whichever databases table you want, where you give the condition order by your data based on any specific column, and then you limit your data by as many number of rows you want to retrieve. Now, these were some of the really basic concepts of data which will help you get started to learn SQL. Before learning SQL or even any tool in data analytics, you should have a good understanding of what data is, how databases work, or how we structure our rows and tables so that we can pull data from multiple tables. This will give you a brief idea on everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, if you think that you are liking SQL and you want to continue your journey with learning SQL, on our channel, we have also posted an entire video on MySQL course as well. You can go through it and complete your MySQL learning journey. In this video, we have just focused on the fundamentals and the databases concepts. I hope it is all clear to you and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe, and for more such videos, stay tuned guys. Thank you.